Good evening. How are we all? I'm back, and this is my research methods full assignment. Kyle Winter, Win 16003628. So let's start off with confidentiality. Confidentiality is where the information you get from tests you do not spread. You only take the information relevant to the test, not the name or age or gender, etc. Confidentiality is assured by the Data Protection Act, created in 1988. Therefore, all data must be locked in a safe cabinet or electronically must be lined with a protective password so no one else can view the work. An example of this happening is, say if they're doing a blood pressure test and they don't want anyone else finding out, then you don't have to fill out your name or your age or your gender. You just take the results you need to see if there's any significant danger to our blood pressure or not. The impact of this is if confidentiality isn't carried through, then people can steal their identity and use them for bills and stuff. And if they are doing like a skin fold test and people find out that they've got a large amount of fat percentage on their body, then it could be embarrassing if their friends find out or anything. So then this would cause people not participating in tests as regularly because confidentiality doesn't exist. Informed consent. This is where participants agree to do a certain thing/activity. This can help protect the researcher because they don't have to do anything they don't want to. They can sit out at any time. It helps to inform the participant on what will be going on. For example, if they need to use certain specialist equipment or anything to help them do the test, then they know that this will be there. It ensures the safety of the participant and the researcher. So certain things like medication or anything will be found out and stuff, etc. In the informed consent letter, the name, the date of birth, address, and all the personal details are there to help contact the participant. Also, the name of the investigation, the protocol, and the description of the test will be in there. So what certain tests you'll be doing, for example, BMI, skin fold, peak flow, etc. And a declaration with a tick box will be there. So this will mean that you agree to do the tests and that you're not worried about anything, but you can still sit out any time if you do this. And then with a signed signature and a date at the bottom, so it shows your consent. An informed consent letter will be used if the tests consist of any medical information which could be used to see how healthy or unhealthy you are, such as health screening tests, as certain specific equipment will be used. BASES. BASES is the British Association of Sport and Exercise Scientists. This is where they help protect the sporting industry by setting out rules and things to keep research legal, etc. And they set up a code of conduct. This is where rules and aims are abided to the people who work as BASES, and if those rules have been broken, then they could be in severe trouble and consequences will be paid. Legal and civil action. This is where if you are testing something and you aren't doing it properly and missing steps, then this could lead to legal civil action. This is needed to ensure that people work ethically and legally in the sporting industry. So if they don't work legally, then this could have a high rate in the population of the sporting industry that everyone's working illegally, meaning it could put participants in danger. An example of this is if someone's testing a certain sporting component such as speed, like doing a 30-meter sprint, and they do their normal time, and then after that they use steroids to see if they make the performance better or make you faster or anything. This is illegal due to it wasn't mentioned in the informed consent letter in the first place. So the participant didn't know they were taking steroids, which could be real bad if the participant has certain medical history and they've skipped certain steps of the evaluation. And the advantage is when civil legal action has took place, sorry, I've got a cold, participants feel a lot safer as they know they're feeling well protected. The research can be more trustworthy as it's not illegal and unethical, so they're doing all their steps properly and they know what they're doing. And it deters researchers from working illegally and unethically. So this can ensure that the participants know whether the tester is performing wrongly, so then they can take it up with the legal civil action and maybe take them onto a tribunal, which we'll got on in a second. The disadvantages: the tester can be prosecuted due to a simple error. So maybe they didn't test the blood pressure on the right arm, so then they could be taken under legal and civil action due to just a simple error which they knew was wrong in the first place. And participants may not know how to do this, so they may not know how to take up legal civil action, so then they just leave it. Or it's the fact that they don't know how the tester should be testing, so they could be thinking it's a whole different way, but the tester's doing it properly and he's prosecuted for something he hasn't done because you think that he or she has been doing it incorrectly. The impact of not having legal civil action is that a lot of people will be doing illegal and unethical things, so like performing tests not correctly and using certain substances which should not be used. But the advantages and like the impact of having legal civil action is that people feel safer and the test can be more trustworthy, meaning more people will sustain and take the tests as they know that the tests are perfectly safe. Tribunals. This is something like a court of justice where people who do illegal and unethical things are prosecuted and taken, and they may suffer consequences in the end if they're found guilty. Again, this is needed to ensure that justice is carried through and consequences are given. Another example, so someone again has been testing steroids and has not mentioned it in the informed consent, meaning they've skipped steps and the participant hasn't known. The tester would be taken to a tribunal or a court of justice to see if they are guilty, and if so, they suffer consequences. The advantages of this is that we can ensure that we can trust research. So if someone is taken to a tribunal, then they know that the tester has been doing wrong, and the tribunals ran by bases can find out whether they have or not, meaning that the people who don't or haven't gone to a tribunal, you know that it's safe and the data is trustworthy. The research can be used in the future, so that say the participant has just done a research and it's all fine, and then they haven't gone to tribunal, then these studies can be used in the future to compare with other people. Another advantage of tribunals is that it furthers sporting performance, and some disadvantages. It takes a lot of time to set up a tribunal, so there's a lot of paperwork and things to be done to do a court of justice. It costs a lot of money, so yeah, it'll be a bit of a pain to do a tribunal, and some people may just not want to do a tribunal, and then the tester will get away with doing illegal and unethical tests, which mean that he'll just get away with it, and then he'll carry on doing it, and no consequences are at hand. Sometimes a good researcher can go down and be guilty even though they're innocent because they haven't got a very good case. So then this means that a brilliant researcher who does his work legally and has done everything correctly has been prosecuted for something he hasn't done. And yeah, that's about it. It's the same again. Someone who's found guilty is not guilty, which is a big disadvantage because that's a real good researcher who's been banned for or suspended forever or for a few years or fined and he can't get back on his feet. The impact of the tribunals is that it allows protection of the research and also the participants, as if they feel that the researcher has been done illegally, then they can do something about it rather than letting them go and then doing illegal and inefficient or unethical things in the future. So measures to prevent future research. This is due to the abiding to BASIS rules. You can be called before a tribunal to see if you're guilty, and if so, then this could lead to fines, suspensions, and lifetime bans. This is needed to prevent illegal and unethical issues. Again, so example is, say someone again has been doing testing for steroids when they're not supposed to be because they haven't mentioned it in the informed consent, then they are found guilty, and then due to this they try and prevent them from doing it ever again by banning them or fining them. So the advantages are is we can trust research. So if these guys are done and been prosecuted, then other researchers will have been prosecuted we can trust. Good researchers can get back on track. So if they were a legal researcher from before and they've been prosecuted now, they can start all over and start being good again and doing things legally. And it protects British universities. So people are doing tests legally in the universities rather than doing tests legally. Disadvantage is a fine for a big company, so say like Nike. This wouldn't affect them as, say, a fine of 50 grand. They just have that in their back pockets as they're a massive company, whereas a sole trader who does it on his own, a 50 grand fine will be major. So it's a disadvantage because some bans or fines just don't apply to the bigger, larger companies around the world. Mostly a researcher can be banned for say 2 years for doing illegal things, but then they just come back and they just do it again, like they haven't learnt their lesson. So therefore, that's a good researcher who's been wiped out the sporting industry because he's not choosing to work legally, meaning that he's been banned for life, and that's a good researcher just gone. And yeah, that's my research methods for exam or assignment. Sorry for a lot of coughing and sniffling. I got a bit of a cold, but I battled through it. And I'll see you next time.